are you listening to? Straight Talk with Kim and Carolyn.
Okay, thanks for joining us for another episode of Straight Talk with Kim and Carolyn. We have some candidates tonight for the Utah State Board of Education, which we all refer to, Kim always corrects me on this, as the State School Board.
Or the State Board of Education, not school board.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Because we all say the State School Board.
Yeah.
But it is the
But
State
they're actually not
Board
a school
of
board.
Education.
They are a Board of Education. However, little known fact, they do have a sort of role, smaller role, as a school board. Do you know that one? To our guest, Kim Delgrosso. Do you know?
Yeah.
That you are actually, if you're elected, you actually do serve as a school board for one school system, for one LEA.
Oh. Is it Salt Lake City?
No.
Is it? I have no idea. We'll talk about this in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, we'll talk about it.
So
there's the trivia though for this. For this program.
Yeah, I have no idea. All right. So we have a lot of interesting kind of new people running this year. People who haven't been involved in the past, running for all kinds of offices, including State Board of Ed. So we will start out with a discussion with Kim Delgrosso, who has made a few headlines, and we're excited to talk to her. She knows a lot about kids. She knows a lot about teaching. And she'll tell us a little bit about where she is, why she decided to run. And Kim, we're really glad to have you tonight.
Thank you so much. I am very happy to be here tonight. Thank you.
Okay, let's give some context. The backdrop is a couple years ago, Utah changed its constitution to allow State Board of Ed members to be elected through a partisan process. So half the board has currently been elected that way. This is the second wave of the board. So you are being you are being considered for the seat through a Republican process. And so give us the context for where you are and what did you challenge an incumbent, or what's your situation?
My situation is that very beginning, I'm going to tell you how I really decided to run. I have 8 children and 26 grandchildren. My oldest son is a special needs child, was a special needs child. He was hit by a drunk driver when he was 9 and brain injured. So my husband and I have taken care of him our whole lives, which has been fantastic. He's kind of high functioning. He was high functioning. And I was involved in the school systems in Colorado when I lived there 34 years ago, very involved in the curriculums and things that were happening there. My husband and I were taking care of my son, and last June 1st, I came home and he decided to leave us. So he left us on June 1st, which opened up some time for me to really, I had weeks where I just had to really regroup and figure out where I could serve again. And I remember very, very well that I was sitting down watching a television show where they were calling the parents terrorists. It was during that time when all those things were going on. I literally got up and by myself, I talked to myself. I said out loud, why doesn't somebody do something about this? This is ridiculous. I am over it. And I am not kidding you. I don't know who it was, but I heard in my head, why would you expect someone else to fight a battle you're not willing to fight? And from that day on, I had decided that I would serve as I could with my skill sets and the things that I know about children. So I went down to the campaign office, so excited, first time, filled it out, got my headshot, did the whole swearing thing, went home. I was on a roll, and 6 days later, I was called by the lieutenant governor's office and told that I was disqualified. There was a form that was not in my folder that they had missed putting in, or a sticker to remind me to do a disclaimer of conflict of interest. The election office called the lieutenant governor's office and said, this is our fault. We're sorry. Can you put her back on? And they said, no, it's law, sue us. So we did sue them and we won. And I was put back on the ballot. About 9 days later, I was put back on the ballot. I will not give you the price of that court case. They did not give us our court fees. From then on, I was 90 days behind, if not more, in campaigning. I am running against an incumbent. Her name is Cindy Davis. She is the vice chair of the state school board or board of education, whatever. And the minute that I signed up, I don't know how people know things, but my phone started ringing and it didn't quit ringing. And I was being called by charter school principals. I was being called by parents. I was being called by teachers. I honestly at times just had to take my phone and just shut it off for a minute because the floodgates were opened. I guess nobody would run against her. The wonderful thing about being naive about things like that is that I had no idea, but this was some kind of big deal, which made me more excited about it. And as I sat and listened to these people, and as I did my own research, which I had already done a lot, my brother's a really well-known teacher. I come from a family of teachers. I own a performing arts school. We're able to give high school credit. So they get elective credit coming into our high school. We are producing some of the most beautiful, incredible students that are living their dreams, and they have done it through COVID. And so I just thought I have got to get in there and make sure that I'm not just taking care of my own little village. I have to take the time. So I have done my homework. I have reached out. I have made the 300 phone calls. I have spent so much of our own money that my husband went back to work. He was retired and he was gone back to work so that we could do this. Our entire family, I've learned the hard way and the best way. I have been absolutely crucified by the Salt Lake Tribune, who decided to have their people put very bad things on my studio, which whatever, we're doing fine. So that's kind of my journey to here. And then I went to the convention, went into that delegates meeting, gave my 3-minute talk, sat down and finally quit shaking. I'm a state delegate myself, and I went and voted. My husband was, my sister is, my daughter is, and my daughter watched the vote counting. I went out into the delegate big area. I honestly didn't find out for a while that I'd won with 75.8% of the delegate vote. And it was very exciting because I felt like the hard work was worth it, but I know the hard work is now happening now. I know this.
So
right.
75% of the vote, but it's not over, right? Or 76.
Like 75.8. So they're always telling me I can go 76. Yep. So I'm going to take it.
Yeah,
we want
everything behind that decimal. So, but you still have a primary, right? Is that right?
Yes, my opponent, the incumbent, went and got signatures.
Okay.
So she had to have 2,000 signatures. She was able to get 2005, and just call me crazy, but guess who was the one guess who vetted out all of her signatures?
The same person that said you were not lawful to run.
Very good. The Lieutenant Governor's office is the one that took care of making sure. And I'm not claiming anything. I just, in the real world, when you're not in politics, that's really weird.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I'll tell you as well. So I'm currently running for the House, and I also won at convention. My opponent, the incumbent, gathered signatures, and the county is not willing. I had somebody from my campaign looking at the signatures because I'd heard some things that gave rise to a little bit of concern. And they said, well, you can look at them, but you can't take pictures, photocopies, that kind of thing. So someone from my campaign went into the county, started looking at them. They were given to her. She got a bit down the list and then was told, Sherry said you can't have these, and took them all from her. Now, this is a public record that puts somebody on the ballot. We have no way of verifying that those are legitimate signatures, that those are not signatures that people have gathered in the past and photocopied signature pages or done something funny. We have no way of knowing that those people actually signed, that they were told that they were signing what they were signing, because I've heard plenty of stories about what people are told they sign. and there's no way to remove your name. There are a lot of things that if we can't get rid of SB 54, that I plan on dealing with next legislative session.
Thank you.
To make
Thank you.
this a transparent process, open to the
Right.
public, and notifying people when their name has been submitted and approved on a packet signature.
Well,
packet.
it's just crazy that someone who can't eke out, a decent showing at a convention of people who are elected by their neighbors to do this, that they're going to pull the whole entire whatever region, county, district through a primary. And
Right.
I know I've said that on this podcast before.
Yeah.
It's not just that the candidate gets a second bite at the apple. It's that it drags the party. It drags people's supporters and it
makes
takes
a lot of money for consultants.
It does.
Yeah.
And it drags resources into a primary
Yes.
that then can't be used in the general against Democrats. And
Right.
so it's
so
terrible.
expensive. I had no idea how expensive it was. I mean,
Right.
I really didn't. And especially coming off of a lawsuit that we did have donations for, but I don't think it covered the whole thing.
Yeah.
But that's not I'm not fighting for that. I mean, I'm not giving up. We are going to go
Good.
all the way. We're going to do it. And I've got the most amazing volunteer. The delegates that voted for me
Yeah.
are some of the most amazing people. My life has been so enriched by these people. They have done their homework too, and they know, and they are passionate. They are parents and they're teachers. So I'm really encouraged. I feel like we can do this, and I feel like you can too.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask a Jennifer Scott question because she's famous for this.
Okay.
So, what 3 things would you like to accomplish as a state board
I
member?
have that. Well, the first thing, and I have written that down because I literally have 10. So I've had to get down to the 3.
Yeah, we need your top 3.
I'll give you my top 3. I ran because I couldn't handle how parents were being treated. Okay. I know that Utah has some of the strongest parental laws. I feel like, I just feel like the parents aren't being treated the way that they should be. I feel like they should be included. The board is not transparent. So these parents, if they want to find out how things were voted on, if they want to find out the things that they're discussing, they have to watch 3 hours of a board meeting.
Yes.
I have 2 fathers that have done this, that have sat through it. They say that they post what the votes were on. They say that they're letting you know what is happening, but it isn't happening. And the parents are so frustrated. So number 1, I learned in my business, there are 2 things you don't mess around with parents, and that's their children and their money. And you're going to mess around with their children, and you're going to mess around with taking their tax dollars. You better darn well be able to answer to them.
Yeah.
So as a parent, as a grandparent, I'm an advocate for parents, and I'm not just saying that. I feel like the respect needs to be there. And I do feel like this can be something that has a strong dialogue. I'm also very strong because I'm a teacher. I understand the stress that teachers are going through. And like I said, my families are teachers. I have teachers, I don't know what they think I can do. I'm not on the board yet, but I have emails from teachers that are so frustrated, whether it's relicensing with charter schools, whether it is the gender survey that's being sent home, that they're being asked to put in class and is being sent home, whether it's things that they're being asked to teach, whether it's mental health issues. And then they're seeing that the literacy scores are way down. And I feel like the 3 things that teachers are most leaving us for is stress, administration issues. The pay is somewhat decent, but they're still using their own pay to put things in their classrooms. And many of them, the required training, whether it's equity, teaching them how to, do equity training in their schools. I'm very, very, very pro teacher. And then just the budget, you guys. I mean, the state school board has over 300 administrative staff at $27 million. That's 25 administrative staff per board member.
But how many are really super good at what they do, though?
Very few. And this is my point. If I get in there, they don't get my trust till they earn it.
Yeah.
And I mean it. They have to earn that. And on the group of us that are running for state school board, there is a group of us that meet weekly, and we have plans. We have things that we're doing, and one by one, we're winning. Now,
Nice.
my race is very critical because she is the vice chair,
Yeah.
and she did throw me into a primary. The other ones are pretty much in there, and if I get in, we have 8 votes.
Okay, so I'm going to pitch.
Wow.
I'm going to pitch for you fundraising because
Yeah.
State Board of Ed is so big. These regions are so big. The districts are like 2.5 Senate-sized
Senate
districts.
district, yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
very large and they are extremely difficult to raise money for. So tell us how people can donate to your campaign. And I'm just going to urge, send her $10. Send her your $10. If you
That's
care about
great.
your parental rights, if you care about.
Well, and my opponent, I know for sure she gets money from the union.
Yeah.
I know that, the teachers union.
Yes.
And so I'm up against something that is just not fair. The teachers union in themselves donate to candidates, and 93% of their money goes to Democrat.
Well, did they not endorse you?
No, only the Republican Party endorsed me, and I thought I would get some money from them, and I'm still waiting. But I get it. There's a lot of people we need to share the money. But if anyone would want to donate, my website is kimdelgrosso.com, and there's all the information that's on there to donate. And do you know what? I've got to tell you, there's angels. There's times I go to bed at night and I'll see that people have donated. I have people donating from Wyoming. Wyoming. I'm just like, why? I am humbled. And again, I will not quit fighting because I understand what these parents and these families sacrifice to donate.
Yeah.
Especially in this economy, you guys. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But there is a wave, and you can either get on the right side or get out of the way. And that's what I told in my convention talk. In the dance world, in the ballroom world, when there's a lead, someone has to lead. And if you lead, you win. Mm-hmm. And Shirley Ballas, so I don't know if you know who she is, has always said, lead or get out of the way. And that is exactly how I feel. The leadership has been so poor at the school board that they just can't quite get it together. They need strong leaders, and we have got some of the most talented. The A team, if we all get in here, the A team is one of the best I've ever worked with, and every one of them have a skill set, and every one of us are on the same page and doing it for the right reason. Obviously, you don't get paid a lot. I think it's $10,000 for the year for state school board. So I think they might fire me or something. There's no incentive there. But please, if anyone wants to donate,
we'll post it as well.
So much money.
Yeah, we'll post it as well because really, school board races, people don't know who their school board members are because it's so difficult to raise money and get the word out. So thank you.
We did the district.
Yeah,
the district's different now.
What's that?
The district is different. They redid the district.
Yes.
So in January, it's District 11, and it covers, like you said, Bluffdale, Harriman, Alpine. I mean, it's just all this and some Draper.
Okay.
It's huge. It is.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think we could have done an entire hour here.
We could have.
Yeah. But maybe we'll have you on again right before the primary. I think that actually might be fun. So thank you for joining us so
Thank
much.
you,
It was
ladies.
great to talk. Best of luck. We'll post your website as well.
You're the best.
Okay.
Good
Thanks,
luck.
Kim.
Good luck.
Good luck to you.
Okay, I'm going to
Bye-bye.
answer the trivia question. So,
Okay, tell me.
The State Board of Education is the board of education for the state. They don't run a school,
Right.
Except when they do. And so the State Board of Education actually serves as the school board for.
Is it the school for the deaf and the blind?
Yes.
Oh!
Utah Schools for Deaf and Blind.
Okay.
The State Board
I
of
did
Ed
not know.
serves as the school board for that, but that is the only school board they are a school board of. So in their capacity, normal capacity that they're elected to, it's the State Board of Ed, but they are
Right.
a school board on the side. All right, we have another State Board of Education candidate and sometimes sometimes school board.
Yeah, we had that discussion a minute ago.
We had
So,
trivia
yes.
a little bit. The State Board of Education is the State Board of Education vote. once in a while, they are also a board of education for the Utah Schools for Deaf and Blind. So,
And I was unaware, so Kim educated me on that.
and maybe Melanie's just finding out. We have Melanie Mortensen. I'm excited about this race as she took on an incumbent, challenged an incumbent, and there was a large field, I think, originally, but the incumbent dropped out, and so now, where are we? Let's welcome Melanie and tell us where we are in the race, and why'd you decide to run?
Yeah, so we are. Thank you, Kim. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you. We just had a convention a couple of weeks ago, and then the week after, my son got married, and now we're starting full blown. Campaigning in the primary. So
you didn't tell him that it's very inconvenient for him to get married in the middle of your campaign. How?
I'm just grateful he waited. That we had that timing worked out really well. So
and can I just say, running a school board race, like we just had this discussion with Kim Delgrosso, right? It's an expensive thing. You don't get a lot of donations. You cover a really large district. So be grateful it was not a daughter who just got married.
Hey, that's actually happening in August. So
okay. They really picked a bad year. Mom needs to get elected first, and then
all of the things at once. Oh, it's all good. But if you want to go to my website, votemelanie.org, you can donate there because that would be awesome.
Great.
We do. Our district is it's almost as big as 2 Senate districts. And so it is an enormous area. And so I was saying we had a field of 6 candidates, and it's down to 2 of us now. And we're in a primary. So we're in the next race till the end of June.
Did you lead the convention? Were you the top?
I did. We had 4 rounds, and I led every single round, which was amazing.
Nice. So what did you come out with at the end? What was your percentage?
Just under 56%.
Okay.
So
Nice.
We're so close. We were so close.
So did anybody in your race gather signatures or no?
No.
Okay.
Nice.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So why did you decide to do this?
So that's a really good question. There are days I ask myself that, but no, honestly, the more I learn, the more excited I get and the more determined I get. I've been involved in education my whole life. I have an education degree, secondary certificate, and I taught for a while before raising my kids. I taught for a while after when they were little. And as a teacher and as a parent, I feel like I have a dual perspective, and I've been involved in my kids' classrooms even when I wasn't teaching, helping the teacher out with being the reading specialist or the math specialist or the classroom mom. I've been on curriculum councils. I've been on community councils, and I've just have seen every facet of education from the grassroots perspective, and like I said, as well as my teaching experience. And so I've just have watched the system, and I feel like it's been sliding downhill for a while. And when this opportunity came up, I just felt like I actually asked a couple of friends to run for me, and it just didn't work out for their lives. And the night before the filing deadline, I just felt like, why am I asking other people to do what I think needs to be done?
So there is like a fairy that sprinkles that on people when they start asking friends to run.
Right. I know people went through the same thing. Yeah.
And then you're going to end up being the one to do it. So you said that the things were sliding, kind of going downhill. So we have seen kind of real stark and controversial kind of headline grabbers of revelations of things that are being taught in schools that parents are objecting to, mask mandates,
and the teachers are objecting to oftentimes,
and the teachers as well, and so CRT and SEL and all these alphabets that soup that gets thrown out at this, but we've also had long-standing lack of improvement just on the academic side of things. And so I want to not lose sight of that while we're fighting to get rid of pornography out of libraries. Let's not lose the fact that we really are not good at math. So what can you say about any of those topics, really?
Oh my gosh, so much. How long is your show? So from a teacher's perspective, I just feel like we have added and added and added and added, whether it's CRT and SEL and all of these programs. And it's just complicating the teacher's role so much. And it's giving them so much that they have to do. At our last parent teacher conference, I talked to every single one of my kids' teachers and I said, tell me how much time you're spending on things that don't actually have anything to do with your lesson plans. And they just kind of looked at me and just every single one of them were overwhelmed. Every single one. And so one of my priorities is going to be to take that extra off of their plates. Let's just get rid of it. We already have a rule that prevents CRT from being taught. Let's tighten that up. Let's include the other divisive theologies, and let's just get rid of it. Let's just get rid of those, take it off their plate so they can get back to those fundamental concepts. And by doing that, I think we'll not only make their job more enjoyable, make their environment more enjoyable, make parents happier that we're not teaching that, but we'll help teachers get back to doing what they love. And the reason they signed up in the first place, right? The reason they came to this job to begin with. And I think that also when we get back to those fundamental concepts, we'll be able to increase our proficiency. We'll be able to have higher expectations and have that accountability, because right now there's so much of their time that's taken up with this other extra that doesn't need to be taught in schools. Teachers don't need to have that responsibility. That should be a parent's responsibility. We can leave it there. Yeah. And I recognize there's a lot of kids that don't come from the ideal nuclear family, but that doesn't mean that the teachers need to take that responsibility. We have social programs that can help them with that outside of school, right? So let's focus on what education should be, and that's just education, reading, writing, math, and let's get back to basics.
Well, and I do
Natalie
have a, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say she has a campaign right now. She's trying to get back to the gift to be simple, I think is what she's calling it, back to classical education. And I think if we're going to add anything, let's add classical education. Let's get rid of all of the extras that don't need to be there.
Teaching our children to think?
So my school district, Jordan School District, has a real big push on, they have created clinical services and a whole kind of institution that they offer parenting workshops and support for parents, and bring your children in to be tested, evaluated, get all these support systems. And I just think, okay, because you got really good at the basics, that now you can just expand your mission. I mean, that mission creep is incredible. But then there is this flip side of, if the child, if there's a student that is not coping, does have mental or emotional issues going on, then the teacher can't teach. So I get that that's the concern out there, but why is it the school that is taking that on? Why doesn't the school have a list of referrals, or can facilitate those kinds of referrals? Why do they become the clinic?
Yeah. And I keep saying this, but I feel like the more we have outsiders kind of saying that they need to be the ones saving our children, the more our children are suffering with depression and anxiety and suicide. And I'm not saying that one is a result of the other. I'm just saying these are questions we ought to be asking. It doesn't seem to be addressing the problems the way some of the people who are involved in these programs think it is.
We're not seeing those things go away. We're not seeing them
We're
reduce.
seeing increases. We're seeing massive increases. Yes.
So from a state board of education seat, when you see districts or the state board itself mission creeping beyond, the reading, writing, math, and what are your thoughts on that?
So I think one thing that we have been missing is accountability. I think the USBE should be the leadership for education in the state. It has that overarching umbrella-like responsibility. And I think a lot of that is follow-up and reporting back and making sure that we know what our tax dollars are doing. And it's not being heavy-handed, it's not being over control, but it's asking for accountability on every level. And I think we should hold ourselves to that as well, right? And one of my big projects I would love to tackle, and I've talked about this a number of different places, is the budget. education budget, as we know, is so convoluted and so complex. We have over $7 billion that goes into that, which is great. Every single year, the past 3 or 4 years, we have had the education budget increase, which is great. We've had teacher salaries increase, which is the track it should be on. However, there's so much of that that's misunderstood, and so much of that is unclear. And I would really love to just do a ginormous flow chart or butcher paper on the wall or something like that, and be able to just see, okay, how much of this is federal, how much of this is grants, how much of this is ESSER, how much of this is state, what programs are we paying for to be able to qualify for federal funding, and is that an appropriate use of our funds? Let's be financially responsible, and with the funds that we have, and then let's follow up and let's make sure that we're using them appropriately, so that we're not buying books we don't need to buy, or that we are giving teachers as much as we possibly can, that the part that filters down the classroom is as big as we can make it. And I feel like there's a lot of those leaks and weak cheat links in the chain that we could really look at.
So I'm excited about this, and I'll tell you why, because I think every time we have the discussion about with government officials, somebody who deals, well, let's just say, with the governor's office, or with legislators who say, no, we need more money, here's what the expenses look like, we seldom have a conversation about, or let me just add one little piece. We need the federal dollars because it's X% of the budget for it's a relatively small percentage for education. I've heard different numbers between 4 and 7%, but I've heard lots of numbers on many different programs where the state is unwilling to reestablish their sovereignty as a state because of concerns about losing these federal dollars. And the question I always ask is, what is it costing us to get those federal dollars, to access them in the first place? And I could tell when you talked about, kind of taking a look at the budget, where the money's coming from, and what's required of the system in order to qualify.
Well, and then once you take in that money, you have the maintenance of effort requirement too, that you've got to keep it up now and increase it every year.
I want to know what that 4 to 7% costs us. And my guess is that whatever that percentage is, if we cut that out, we would be no worse off, because we would save at least 4 to 7% on the other side of things, administration, oversight.
And be happier, because it'd be our way and not have the other strings. But
well, that's what I think. I mean, exactly. Yes, exactly to your point. It would be so amazing to be able to untie us from the federal purse strings, because I think the USBE and the legislature, I think we could come up with an incredible curriculum set of standards that incorporates Utah values, that doesn't include any divisive content, and we could make Utah the envy of the nation.
Yep.
But as a result of these federal funds, we have so many ties and we have so many hoops that we have to jump through that may or may not be in alignment with the curriculum that we want to teach. So I think it'd be worth it. Okay,
so our governor has borrowed a very, very old, ancient, ossified, old term and excuse for not supporting education choice by saying, not until we fully fund public education. That is the biggest ruse.
I love the term
argument,
fully fund on anything.
Public education. What does that even mean? And let me just ask you where you are on education choice anyway, school choice, education choice. But the notion of, what does that even mean, fully fund education?
Well, first of all, it sounds like an excuse. It sounds like a talk around in order to not have to get to the crux of the question. But for me and my kids and their education career, parent choice has been huge, because there was a time when public education was not doing what it needed, what my kids needed, right? And so I pulled them out and we went to a charter school. And then there was a time when we were at charter school where they selected a math curriculum that I was not a fan of. And so I pulled my kids out and we did math at home. And then things changed and they went back to charter, and then they went back to public. And so we've done the whole gamut all the way through. And from a parent's perspective, I love having those choices. And I love being able to choose, because one system is not going to fit any one child at any time. And with all 4 of my kids, it was different every single year. And so being able to decide that and being able to select that has made the biggest difference for them. And that's something that I'm a huge proponent of.
Well, I think some would say, though, that you shouldn't be allowed to do that because some parents can't do that. Isn't that how this equity thing works? And literally, as a parent, I have 5 boys. I had 1 year with 5 boys in 5 schools, right? And
I had years, 4 and 4.
yeah,
I totally feel you.
and nobody knows what's better for those children than their parent. And half the time, the parent doesn't even know. So you can, until you try something, right?
Right.
There's no way that a school can know what's best for that child when it's a whole lot of learning for a parent and a child to even figure it out together.
Sure.
So,
Which is why it's great that we have options
Yes. Yeah.
and be able to choose that.
Yeah.
we heard from another candidate that some of the new candidate challengers are meeting and designing and figuring stuff out and planning.
I think that's plotting.
Planning. It's a little Italian
Planning.
restaurant downtown with some dark corners, and they'll be the ones.
Hey, I'm
in
from New
trench
York.
coats.
People may actually do that then.
I just have to say that I am so excited by a lot of the candidates that are running this year. I think we're all on the same page. I think we all have the same goals, the same desires, the same motivation. And I think we're all so excited to get going that the learning curve is going to be very short, knock on wood, that we all get there.
You
But,
just don't seem crazy. I mean, do
Why,
you
thank
thi-
you.
Well, to the discussion that we had last week about these Republicans, the crazy right-wing Republicans, I think some of us are better at hiding it than others.
Yeah.
It could just be that she's a radical and she
What do you
is.
think? Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, but to the point that we
I have to
made
go back and
about
watch your show.
about how crazy right-wing Republicans breed a lot. She does have 4 kids. So I think that should tell us a little bit of something about the kind of radical nature that she would bring with her to the State Board of Ed.
Well, how can people help you?
So great question. Thank you so much. The best way is to go to my website, votemelanie.org. And there's buttons on there where you can donate. There's buttons on there where you can volunteer. I need a lot of help because I am up against an institution-backed candidate. And
did we talk?
it's an uphill battle.
Did you tell us your district area? What does it cover?
Oh yeah, let me tell you that. So we start at Capitol Hill. So from City Creek west over Capitol Hill and through Rose Park, it follows pretty much 3rd North for a ways out to the county line. And then we go north through North Salt Lake, Bountiful, Woods Cross, West Bountiful, Centerville, Farmington, Fruit Heights, Kaysville, and then we have a little slice of Layton.
Wow.
That's
okay.
that's a big area.
Yeah.
So I'm going to encourage people to go to your website, donate the cost of a couple signs, at least about $10, and grab one and put it in your yard. And
That would be awesome.
let
Yeah.
Melanie keep the rest of it, whatever's. But she needs you to put a yard sign out, and she needs you to write a check, donate.
Speak up, share, yeah, talk to your neighbors. Let's get this thing going.
Plus, you know what? Some of you need some exercise now on Saturday. The weather's warming up, and there's door knocking. There's lots of door knocking
lots of door
opportunity.
knocking.
Carolyn's got door knocking coming up. So all these candidates, I mean, and it's fun. I mean, my kids were raised on door knocking
Yeah.
and putting signs in yards. So, join some of these campaigns, and especially these school board, state board.
Yeah.
Races that have so much territory to cover. So, volunteer any way you can, but definitely send some money.
Thank you so much for joining us, Melanie.
Thank you both. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
There are going to be some changes. There are
I'm
gonna be
so
big
excited
changes.
about what's happening. I'm excited about what's going on with the state legislature. I'm excited about what's going on with the State Board of Ed, which it seems to me that with some of the headlines that we're seeing lately and some of the things that people are saying, even on social media, it's clear to me that some people are feeling threatened. And I don't know that that's a bad thing. Yeah.
No, there needs to be shakeup.
Yeah, and you know what? That's healthy in our system of government. That is healthy. That's how things should go down. I mean, I may sing a different tune when someone's trying to take me out, but I will say that's healthy.
But people really, really want this change. I mean,
Yeah.
it is driven by people being very passionate about their rights, about their futures,
And frustration with feeling like they're not being listened to, that their concerns are not being addressed. And the fact of the matter is, those are legitimate concerns being expressed.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a wave. All right.
Yes.
So we're going to ride that through the June 28th. Is
June
the
28th. Ballots go out the 6th.
ballots
right?
go out the 6th-ish. So watch for your ballot, and to the degree that people can help the candidates that they like in any of these races or multiple candidates, they do need your help. I mean, I've been there. Carolyn's there. So you want to see some of these changes, please help them get there. So thank you for joining us again for Straight Talk with Kim and Carolyn. We'd like to thank our producer, Fosmu.
There's nothing I'd rather be doing.
I sense sarcasm. I sense sarcasm.
Please follow us, subscribe, and share with your friends if you like what you're hearing on Straight Talk. Share with your friends so we can get the word out more and anywhere you get your podcast. And please join us next time. Which is all funded by George Soros and Bill Gates. And
She's kidding.
that does not go into bloopers anywhere.
We just have a little camera adjustment, and then I'll start out.
Okay.
Okay.
Carolyn got the purple last time.
Yes, I was a little purple last time.